Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
It's Monday. Not sure how you did it, but you actually survived an entire 2 days without hearing from Tom. Good job to you. And once again, good luck.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Monday. I am your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport. Galen, from Life South joins us. He does every day. Brought to you by the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. We'd like to thank Palm Garden, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. Palm Garden offers skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions, call Palm Gardens, 352-854-6262. Of course, Penn Flooring, family-owned and operated, serving Marion County for over 30-plus years. Penn Flooring is a full-service flooring company dedicated to finding the best solutions for your flooring needs. They have experience in both commercial and residential fields. Go look at their showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala, or give them a call, 352-351-3420. And, of course, we'd like to thank Just Ship. They've flipped the script on shipping. Before Just Shipped, you would have to buy the box, the wrap, the tape. You'd have to do all the packaging of your item. Then you would have to go stand in line at the post office or the UPS store, wasting not only your money for the packaging and everything, but wasting your time as well. And time is money. Just Shipped has flipped that script. You make an appointment with them for a small pickup fee plus postage. They come pick your item up. They box it up. They wrap it up. They go stand in line at the post office or the UPS store. They ship it out for you, saving you not only money, but your valuable time as well. So reach out to justshipped.net if you want to flip the script on shipping. Galen Neal from Life South joins us. Galen, you were talking about how the New England fans got it right. I was very. They did a little 5-minute montage of video of Tom Brady right before he took the field. He took the field. They cheered for him. The entire stands were chanting Brady, Brady, Brady. All that was great. The lights went down. New England came out. Everything. They did the coin flip and everything. Then they come back out on the field. Tampa Bay gets the ball first. Tom Brady takes the field first on offense, and then tell everybody what happened.
Well, they boo him. They boo the offense, which I thought it was perfect.
I thought it was great.
Right? I mean, it's and that's the way it should be.
They cheered Tom Brady before the game.
And that's exactly right. I mean, there's not a Patriots fan that's walking the earth that wouldn't take Tom Brady back right now. And there's also not a Patriots fan who's upset that he left, right? They should all be upset. They have every right to be upset. But and when you talk to Patriots fan, including my son, who's a huge Patriots fan, he won't wear his Tom Brady jersey anymore. He doesn't talk about Tom Brady. It's almost like he's died. And when I'm a huge Bucs fan, so when Tom went to the Bucs, I'm like, I can really, really cheer for Tom Brady now. So it's and I thought they handled it absolutely perfect, and that's the way it should be.
And after the game, I like what Mac Jones. Mac Jones told in the press conference. He was asked in the press conference. Him and Brady had a brief moment on the field. After, by the way, Belichick, which everybody was wondering whether Belichick and Brady would have a moment. Belichick comes over, gives Brady a hug. It was very brief, but it was, usually head coaches don't come over to the quarterbacks like that. They go to the head coach and then leave the field. So,
Well, apparently they had a private moment after the game. They had talked this week.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of talk about how they hate each other. You can't work together
For 20
and
years
be as successful
and hate each other.
as they are without having a phenomenal relationship.
100%.
Right? You just can't. You just can't. I think there's a tremendous amount of respect.
I'll give you a prime example.
On both sides.
I'll give you a prime example. Somebody on Saturday morning said, "You raised your voice at Galen. Y'all must really not like each other." I go, what are you talking about? Galen and I are great friends. We get along fabulously. We just get after each other sometimes on the radio. And the guy was like, "Sounded like y'all don't like each other to me." I go, "You can't do radio an hour a day. You can't do radio an hour a day for over a year and get along as good as we do without having some respect for each other." And that's exactly what you're talking about with Belichick and Brady.
Sure.
They have to have a working relationship and had to have had a very good working relationship, or you don't have 6 rings. You don't have 6 Lombardi trophies. This is a relationship that, it got testy at the very end, because by the very end, Brady had decided he wanted something different than what the coach was trying to say needed to happen. And so their thoughts about how to do it separated a little bit. But their still desire to win and work towards wins never went away for those two. And there was no way they were going to be mortal enemies after Brady left. You can't do that.
No way. No. And again, I think at some point, you know, when Belichick, you know, there are certain football players that he just raves about, but they're always on the defensive side of the ball.
He's a defensive guy.
Like he thinks Lawrence Taylor's the greatest human being to ever walk the earth.
Well,
cocaine or not.
Great football player. Great football player. I don't know about human
he
being.
Thinks he's the greatest. Right. He thinks he's the greatest, by far and away, the greatest football player to ever play. But he talks about that with like a lot of defensive guys, but he just doesn't talk about that with offense. But I mean, I think when they both go into Canton, because they should each have their own wing. When they go into the Hall of Fame,
shouldn't they introduce each other to the Hall of Fame? Shouldn't Belichick introduce Brady and Brady introduce Belichick?
Absolutely. They know each other better than any two human beings that work together know each other.
I know Robert Kraft's going to Robert Kraft's going to introduce both of them, but they should introduce each other.
Probably. But do you know that Brady and Belichick during the season had a meeting every week, and it lasted anywhere between 2 to 5 hours.
Every week.
Right? A quarterback and a coach unless the coach is the quarterback coach, they just don't do that. It was just a one-on-one. And they had that for decades. So, because Belichick would ask Tom about the offensive scheme of the other team, right? And then Belichick would talk to Tom about the defensive scheme for the other team. They would just bounce ideas off of each other, and they would come up with a game plan together. And again, I think that's respect, right? That's the respect they each have for each other.
It was just an entertaining football game last night. Mac Jones said after the game that Brady come up to him and he told me to he said, "I got a chance to congratulate him on the win. He's a great quarterback, and he played well tonight." And that's pretty much all I said to him. And then he leaned into me and goes, "You're good at what you do. Keep your head up and keep working." So even after the game, Brady, Brady's a different cat. Can we just, he's all about winning and losing. He's not about money. I mean, it doesn't hurt that his wife is one of the, top 100 people in the world money-wise. That doesn't hurt, but
right.
It's one of those things.
I think she's the highest earning supermodel of all time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't hurt that now he's Mr. Commercial. Like every other commercial last night was him.
He wasn't a lot. He wasn't a lot of commercial.
That Subway commercial where he smells the bread and then the Subway person's like,
"You don't eat
but
bread.
you don't eat bread, Tom." I mean, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't eat bread. But it was pretty good. So Tom Brady last night made history in more ways than one. He broke the career passing record in yards last night in the first quarter. He drew Brees' mark at 80,358. But with his team's 19-7 win over the Patriots, he also became the fourth quarterback to beat all 32 franchises at least once. The other three, Favre, Manning, and Brees.
There you go.
So, that when you think about that, that's something, Montana went and played with Kansas City. He played against the 49ers. Montana didn't beat all 32 teams.
Nope.
I checked that. I was like, wow, I find that funny that Montana.
He didn't play there well, and he was a shell of himself, even though he did take that Chiefs team to the playoffs. He wasn't the same guy.
Now, there are two quarterbacks in waiting that I don't think will. One may get it, the other one will not. There are two guys that have beat 31 of 32 teams that are still playing. One, I think if he leaves next year, which I suppose he will do, Aaron Rodgers will probably have a chance to beat Green Bay. But the other one is Big Ben, and I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is going to play for another team, so I don't think he ever beats the Pittsburgh Steelers. So.
No, yeah, and when you look at just to put it into perspective, so everybody thought that Patrick Mahomes was the next great thing. Guess what? He's 1-3.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's the next guy who's going to step up. He's not that good.
Yeah.
And again, you see that kind of thing all the time. And to me, that's why when you look at a guy like what Brady and Belichick did, and what they built, to me, is just even more impressive. So
it really is what they put together, and to be able to sustain it for 20 years. See, that's the thing. You people talk about dynasties. The Dolphins won in 72 and 73. The Steelers won back-to-back twice in the 70s, and had a good run in the 90s. The Cowboys had a good run in the 90s. The 49ers won 4, but they were staggered and everything. You talk about these dynasties, like people talk about how great the Buffalo Bills were never to win a Super Bowl. 4 years in a row they went to the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks for 2 or 3 years was their window of opportunity. The common denominator is there. We're talking about 2 or 3 years windows of opportunity, 4 years for windows of opportunity. This was 20 years of opportunity these two had together. 20 years. 5 times as much as the normal.
Yeah, it is unbelievable, isn't it?
It really is.
But it's not just they were in 9 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Right? Brady and Belichick were in 9 Super Bowls. But how many I think they won the division title every year that Brady was healthy. Again, it's just simply remarkable, except for his last year because the Bills won. But again, it's simply incredible.
Speaking of the Bills, a lot of people think that that's the guy that's the next guy. Now with the season he's having, that Josh Allen may be the next big thing in football.
Maybe.
With the Buffalo Bills.
He's got a great team around him.
He really does.
Maybe. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about prep football. Dunellen travels to Madison County, a game that I didn't think Dunellen could win. I thought it would be close, but I thought Madison County would probably win it, and it was close. But Dunellen wins 28-26 at Madison County, handing the Madison County Cowboys their 4th home loss in the last 10 years and first homecoming defeat since 1993. That's a pretty good win for Dunellen.
It's an epic win for Dunellen. And again, I think Dunellen's healthy, right? They got everybody back. They've recovered from that loss to Buchholz. And again, their other loss was to Vanguard, which Vanguard Knights are a really, really good football team. They've got a front 7 that can dominate anybody. And so I expect those two teams to play again. We'll have Vanguard coming up with Bellevue later on in the season when Vanguard plays Bellevue, which will probably be for the district title.
We got a Bellevue team that went on the road to Springstead and comes out with a 20-point victory. Now, you were on the call with John Ivory, but before this game we had talked about how Brady Ackerman's team was facing a real uphill challenge against Springstead. All they did is just went in there and whip Springstead's rear end. I mean, put it on them.
Yeah, they sure did. I think they pretty much dominated in every phase. I was really impressed with the defense. And again, Springstead runs that veer. It's a wing veer. It's one of my favorite offenses. It's funny, we were talking about it before, on a team that's undermatched can really do some damage with it. And they played really well. They played really, really well.
Then Trinity goes to Wildwood. Wildwood, one of the best teams in their classification, but Trinity just too much for them. Trinity 23-8 over Wildwood.
Yeah, not surprised. Wildwood's a really good football team.
I will tell you,
say that.
They are a real good football team. I will tell you this: I was very surprised when I saw this score. Lake Brantley 21, Westport 14. I thought Lake Brantley would win that game a lot bigger than that. The Westport does fall to 0-6 in the district, but they had to play the game tough to stay within a touchdown of Lake Brantley.
Yeah, I watched a little of that film yesterday morning, and Westport is figuring it out offensively. I think they're getting better and better. And as I've said, and you saw it, their defense is outstanding.
Yes.
So their defense is very, very good, and that showed. And their offense is just slowly starting to figure some things out.
Forest,
they're close.
Forest hosted Childs. Childs boat races Forest 41-14.
Yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say about that.
And speaking of boat raced, the Marion County School is getting boat raced in every game. The Lake Weir Hurricanes 50-0 Crystal River over Lake Weir.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's really tough to be a Lake Weir guy right now.
It has been. History says it is. So history says that Lake Weir in any athletic endeavor I just don't think there's any passion for it down there.
By the way,
the fan base.
By the way, just a quick note that not football related.
They're the Detroit Lions of Marion County.
The prep coaching turnstile just got a new coach, but it has nothing to do with football. As last week, Rondo Fernandez named new head wrestling coach at Forest High School. Did you see that? Rondo was named head wrestling coach.
Yeah. Well, that's the only school in the county that wrestles.
And his son's really good.
Yeah, my son, wrestled with Kane for decades. They would grapple together at USA Martial Arts, and my son was a great grappler and would have wrestled in high school, but they didn't even have a program. So.
And now they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Galen, let's talk for a minute about what's upcoming. Something this has nothing to do with sports. This has to do with our community. Your neighborhood is one that votes regularly, and they go out and they're in tune with what is going on in the community, and they try to let their voices be heard. You've had some conversations here recently. The runoff elections are coming up in 6 weeks. Is there a buzz in your area that this is still an important election that people need to go out, or is it kind of deflated now that the one candidate that everybody wanted to lose lost, and so now everybody's kind of going, well, these runoff elections are people in your neighborhood talking about that these are still important elections?
Great question. I think everybody already knows who they're voting for, and it just comes down to voting now, right? I think the turnout will be incredibly small.
2,500, I think, is the over/under, is what I've said it at.
I don't think it'll be that high. I think you're pushing it. I really do.
I may be at 2,500. I may be pushing the voter turnout. You're entirely correct.
So with that said, I think everybody already knows who they're voting for. Nobody's mind is going to be changed at this point, right? I think they could have had the election the next day and nothing would be different.
Speaking of nothing's different with my computer screens. Now, I got this computer screen in here, Galen, that it decides to work when it wants to work till the technicians show up, and then it works perfectly. You know that the old adage, your car runs rough until it doesn't show up, until you get it to the mechanic, and then it runs fine? Well, that's what's happening here in the studio right now.
Sure.
By the way,
Sure.
your good friend Dan Martone is in the studio right now, making weird,
that's a problem.
gestures and saying your name. I don't know what he means. I really don't know what's going on here.
No, there you go. That's pretty much par for
And
the
it says
course for that
something.
guy.
And he just said to remind you he hit a drive 300 yards the last time we played golf together.
Well, somebody's lying.
No, he said
Cart pass doesn't count.
Well, he said he's probably lying about the drive, but he did make a 60-footer.
That he did. Now it's 60.
Yeah.
All right, now it's 60.
Well, it was 40 originally. I think maybe 35.
I think it was like 25. Yeah.
Galen said 20 feet. Oh, 20 feet.
Yeah.
Dan says you always underestimate your size anyway.
That's right, I do.
Yeah, but yeah, I think with the election coming up, though, these runoffs, I think that now the marquee matchups are done, and so this District 3 is an incumbent, the District 4 is a special election. I just don't see much buzz about it. I know the candidates are still buzzing about it, and they're out and about doing what they need to do, but I just don't believe the general public is that jazzed or that involved. Or, by the way, a lot of them may not even know there's going to be a runoff election. They thought, well, the election's been had. The mayor won, move on. I hear that a lot from people when I say, so you ready to vote in the runoff election? What do you mean runoff election? The elections are over. We already voted. I hear that a lot.
No, that's exactly right. I don't think you're going to see anything different. Again, there's just not going to be a lot of people that show up for it. Again, there's not a whole lot to differentiate these four candidates from one another, other than one is an incumbent and he didn't vote the way a lot of people think he should have voted. And I think that's the one that will be the easiest to decide. The other two, they're like, okay, let's, either one's the same. At least it's not the incumbent.
You're entirely correct, though. You're entirely correct, though. But I believe
the election came down to.
Do you think, though, that because there's an incumbent in this election, do you think that the incumbent will bode the incumbent will bode better?
No, he's
in this election, or not?
No. I think all the ones that went to I don't really want to say names because then people.
I understand what you mean.
I think the incumbent loses. The incumbent loses.
And then you got the runoff between the two ladies, Kristen Dreyer and Lori Martin Gregory, and I think you're splitting hairs with those two. They're both.
I really do. I think you are. And the issue with it is Kristen Dreyer's campaign did a phenomenal job of putting. She's still Kelly Martin to me. In a corner, right? She labeled her as a basically an Obama supporter, and I think that stuck for a lot of voters.
I was pleasantly surprised that the runoff came down to Kristen Dreyer and Lori Martin Gregory. I thought that Barbara Feitos would be one of the two runoff candidates.
No way.
And I think that helps. I think that
Too
helps.
many people know her.
But I think that helps in keeping. I think that helps in keeping voters from coming out to the runoffs because Barbara Feitos is not in the runoff. No reason for us to go vote her down.
That's fair. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Yeah, I think you're dead on that.
I think if there was another side that people thought, ooh, it's the mean empire, we need to make sure they're not in charge, they would turn out. But there's nobody in these races that people see that way.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. But I think everybody has figured out who they're going to vote for, right? They know who they're going to vote for.
I will tell you, because I know the inner workings of one of the campaigns. One campaign is very well funded in these runoffs. One of the runoffs campaigns is very well funded. The other one is operating on a shoestring budget. And even if the shoestring budget doesn't win, the fact that they made it as far as they did on a shoestring budget, not spending, they didn't have the $40,000, $50,000 to spend like some candidates spend, or upwards of $100,000 like one candidate spent on the mayoral race. to just try to do it grassroots and with as little funding as possible. Doesn't a part of you say you go make that happen, because that's the way elections are supposed to be won? It's not supposed to be bought with who's got the most money. It's supposed to be won by people getting out and knocking on doors and convincing people they're the best person for the job. I just like when elections are won that way.
Well, I was shocked when that all that information is public. I was shocked that Greg Steen spent $60,000 on this election. And I knew the mayor race was going to be expensive. I think we all did. But again, when you look at the people who lost, the people who spent more usually lost, with the exception, I guess, Barry Mansfield, who spent $45,000. Again, we'll see how. I did like how one guy, he got $2,900 in contributions and spent $25.
Well, there you go. Hey, Galen.
That's smart. That's good business.
Where's the Bloodmobile? Got about 20 seconds.
Hey, the Bloodmobile today, we're out in the shores, so come out and see us there, right there at the Walmart. And as always, we're right there on the Boulevard, 1607 East Silver Springs Boulevard. Donate blood. LifeSouth.org.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
We'll be right back. WOCA, the source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, the source.
Spill off the coast of California were already evident. Orange County Supervisor Katrina Foley says, "We've started to find dead birds and fish washing up on the shore." End quote. 126,000 gallons or 3,000 barrels were dumped by a pipeline from the LE